Thank you guys for tuning in to Coffee with Tim. I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome. We're going to go over some workflow things real quick, just so that I could start with some sort of topic for you guys. And then it'll be wide open where you can ask questions about whatever you want, and I can show you what to do and how to do it. So let's start off with some workflow goodness. And feel free to either use the little Q&A app on the side, or to ask questions for those of you who are actually participating in the little group chat window. So, all right, let's get started. I'm going to show you some workflow stuff because I know some of you are using it and some of you just aren't. So why not show a little? So here we go. Alrighty. Let me just pull up this window. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm going to first start off by showing you the workflow visualizer. I'm going to kind of work backward so you can kind of see like a big glance, and then I'll work backwards. So on my dashboard, first I guess I'll start there for any of you who haven't edited your dashboard yet. Hover over on the nav where you see dashboard, and then click on edit dashboard. And you're prompted with a whole bunch of widgets. If you've never changed yours, the left side will have a lot more. And all you do is just drag them over into the dashboard widgets. And then you can just choose the order that you want them to appear, and then hit save. And so what I've done is I've added the workflow visualizer dashboard widget. And here I get almost like what you would see on a whiteboard. You get each of these rows is one of my events that I've added my workflow to. So I can see at a glance where I am in each of these events, and you can see a couple of these events I'm way far behind. I haven't actually checked off any of my tasks or stayed up to date on it. But it's really cool. I mean, you can choose how many of these rows are visible on each page in case you want to see a whole lot more. Just remember that depending upon depending upon how many you have, you might not want to display. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm clicking like crazy. Let me go back. I'm too click happy. All right, so you might not want to show more than 100 at a time. Anyway, so this is the workflow visualizer is a really cool tool just to kind of give you a great overview of where you are. So now let's dig into, like, we'll just go to this specific event so you can kind of see how the workflow works on the event. When you first come to the event, you can see right here where you are in the workflow. And then you can click on this workflow tab and you're taken to see exactly where you are. So each of these little groups is called a phase. And within each phase, you can have tasks to be completed. You just hit this little complete button. Or if you want to batch update them, like say you have a whole bunch of tasks that you want to reassign to someone, you just hit batch. And then you can either assign them or delete them, in bulk. So that's what the checkbox versus this little complete button. So if you just want to mark a task as complete, you just click the little complete and it grays it out. So the cool thing about these phases are you can also have actions that will be fired off once you complete every task in the phase. And these are really, really cool. So basically you can set it up so that as soon as you complete all these tasks, all right, I'm good. I've got everything done. You complete the last one. And then here I have a questionnaire and 3 different emails that immediately get sent out. Really, really cool. So you can do that in all of your phases if you want. And what I've done, as well as having these actions within a phase, I'm going to go to my templates and then workflow templates, and I'm going to show you a way that you can also have it not only do it when you complete stuff, but you can have it also do things automatically for you, which is really cool. So here we are in my wedding workflow template. the one that we were just in. And you'll see here are my phases with my tasks, and here are the actions in that first phase. These are all the different tasks, and each task that you have, you've added to a phase. You can also change like who you have it assigned to. So say you have multiple shooters or multiple people in your account, you can assign it here in the workflow level first, like who you want that task to be assigned to. You can also have it be assigned to a task category that you set up yourself, or even have it color coordinated. There's a lot of different kinds of things you can do. But then the thing that I was talking about is that you can have all these different automatic items, and they're really cool because as soon as your workflow is applied to the lead, the event, the project, whatever you're applying it to, like here right now, this is an event type workflow. You can also create project or lead ones. I can say, send this email template, which is called event reminder, 2 days after the event date. Send it at 11 and only send it to the clients. You could also have it send it to staff members who have been associated with it, or even vendors that have been associated with that event. So this event reminder will be sent 2 days after. Obviously, this is just my demo example. You could set it before or after they book. You can choose days, weeks, or months. You choose the amount. But you can have it send these emails. You can also have it send questionnaires. So you can say, here, create this wedding details questionnaire on the event. Send it using this email, and you want to make sure that your email templates have the link in them, which I can show you, and then when to send it and what time. So it's really cool. I see that there's already some questions, so I'm just going to answer those real quick before I go on. What does the color coordination do for tasks, and what can you do with it? Okay, so in my things to do over here, and I click on tasks, I'm just going to open this in a new tab. When you're taken to your list of tasks, you can filter by when they're due. So I can say what's due today, what's due this week, what's due this month. Show me only things that are marked as to-dos, which in this case there aren't. And you can also check different statuses. The colors are used for kind of like grouping your tasks. And actually, it looks like I forgot to add color as a filter. So you'll be able to filter on color right after this video goes live. Go figure. It looks like I just forgot to add that in here. But and if you wanted to create other task categories, you can do that anytime here in your tasks module. So I hope that answers your question. It's just kind of like another way to group your tasks. You can do it by color. All right, so for those of you who haven't created your workflow templates yet, I would say, before I even say that, right now I'm in my workflow template, and there's also a visualizer tab right here within it. So you don't even have to technically go to the dashboard. You could technically go to your wedding, your workflow template, and then just click on the visualizer to see all of the events that you've added it to. But I liked to add it to the dashboard just because it's easier. As soon as you log in, you can just view it right away. So there's a couple of different questions coming in. Okay, so there's a question. When you click on Add Email, and you see the email to send, one of our users only has 2 options in the box. So you can either click on this to add a brand new email template, this little plus symbol, and then just create it here, like in line, without having to go create it somewhere else. Or I'll show you where to actually create it. So you go to Templates and Email Templates. And to answer your question specifically, this workflow that I'm in right now, its type is of event. It's an event-specific workflow, so it'll only be applied to events. So what you'll want to do is make sure that um, the different email templates you set up are of the event type. So see all those different um, email templates I have, those are all event types. So, and the reason why they're set to the event type is because there are certain variables or tokens, whatever you want to call them, that are available when you send an email from an event, whereas like you wouldn't see anything that has to do with a contract or an invoice or a questionnaire in here because you're sending an email from the event. So right now you have access to all of the event information and all of the client information, as well as these bottom ones. These are custom fields that I added. They're just dummy custom fields, but anything that you have in there will show up. I hope that answers the other question. Oh, and then there's one more. Can you create a workflow for each of your employees like they would only see their workflow? So unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to do that. However, you could set up a workflow template. Name it like this is just Tim's template, and then each of the tasks within it are only assigned to Tim. So you would just, as you create your tasks, just assign them to him. So that way, just that staff member sees their tasks, and they won't see anyone else's tasks. Okay, so we've got even more questions. This is great. I'm so glad that you guys are excited about this as I am. It's awesome. It's time to automate some good stuff. So Jess wants to know, what can you use workflow for with other different types like leads, and do you use them for that? So yeah, sure. I'm going to go to my leads module real quick. Of course, I want to leave this page. And so I use lead workflows templates a little bit differently. So in that other example you just saw, there were a lot of different phases, a lot of tasks, a lot of things to be completed. Well, when I created this lead pipeline tool to kind of visually manage your leads, and if any of you haven't seen that, you should definitely go check it out. You create what these things are called lead statuses, and it's just kind of like it's basically like a phase in a workflow. Whereas in the regular workflow templates, you just go from one phase to another and complete them all until you're done. Whereas with leads, it's a little trickier because not all leads actually book and convert, and so created these lead statuses where in each status you can have it fire off a workflow template, and you can also have it automatically change to a different status after a certain amount of time. So in this example, when my leads first come in, they're set as a new lead, as their status. It fires off this micro workflow, as I call them, because it's just a mini workflow. And then if nothing happens with this lead, if I don't change its status at all, if I do nothing, after 2 days, it'll switch to need to follow up. And then in need to follow up, this one will fire off a different workflow template. And then if I still do nothing, then it will switch after 5 days to stale. And then after stale, if still nothing happens, it'll be archived. So it's kind of a really cool way to keep things moving with your leads, even if you're like totally unorganized or just completely forget. Things will be happening. And so in each of these workflow templates, you can have it set off emails or questionnaires automatically, or generate tasks for you to complete. And the really cool thing is you just drag your leads into the statuses, and now this lead, I'm going to go and view it. It now just had that workflow template applied. So here's the email that's being scheduled to send based on the date of first contact. This is just a dummy lead, but it's going to send it on 5/27 of last year, which means in just a few minutes this will actually send right away. And in that workflow, I didn't generate any phases or tasks to complete. All I wanted it to do was automatically schedule up an email to be sent. And so I hope that explains, like, you can do a lot of different automatic things in your workflow templates. So in this little need to send email micro workflow, you can see that it's scheduled an email. Oh, and it also scheduled a questionnaire. I didn't even go to that other tab to show you. But basically, this workflow, all it does is schedule two automatic items to be sent. What did I drag onto my tasks? Is the question. Um, I'm not sure. I understand. What I did in the lead pipeline is I drag. Here, I'll show you what I did. So each of these little boxes here are basically these lead statuses, each of these columns. And any leads that don't have a status, so here's my regular lead listing, you can see that there's a bunch of these leads who just don't have a lead status applied. What I did was I just drug it up from the bottom, and I can always search too. Like I could search within this, within this non-status, I can search and find leads, or I can just page through them. Or basically, I just drag and drop the lead into that status, and now the workflow instantly gets applied. Does that okay, good. That answers it. You can just drag and drop your leads manually, or I'm going to go and edit this particular lead real quick, just to show you. This is like one of those really good example leads where it shows you. I guess I should just say, the lead system in Pixifi warns you if you're already booked for the event date that they've inquired about, if someone else has inquired about that date, and if it detects that it thinks they are an existing customer, you'll see all these different warnings. So you probably won't see all three at the same time, but in this example, you will. So over here in the Actions button at the top right, there's this Change Status button. You just click that, and you can change its status right here. So you don't have to drag and drop it. You could just say, here, set up a meeting, and now it's switched. Okay, so there's another question. Can we get an alert for those tasks on our computer or phone, or even have the workflow show up outside of Pixifi in Google Calendar, for example? That is actually a great idea. I'm going to write that down. So I'll probably just have it. Yeah, that's a really good idea, because that way you can see all the tasks you have without having to log into Pixifi. Awesome. I love that idea. Okay, cool. There are more questions over here. Okay. If I update an event workflow, will it automatically update in the events previously applied? No, it won't. That's a very good question. So if you are, basically when you apply a workflow to an event or a lead or a project, it creates a copy of all of the phases and tasks in that template, but it's not a direct link to the template. So what if you then updated your workflow template, you'll want to reapply it to the event or lead or project, whatever you applied it to. Awesome. Oh, there was another question that I missed. Can you explain the differences between phases and tasks? I ended up creating the same task under each phase since I could only figure out how to have different due dates for tasks. I couldn't have various due dates in one phase. That is correct, actually. That is how, sorry, my mouse is being silly. That is how it's actually designed, Julie. So within each, so when you add a phase, so I'm just going to add a phase real quick. I'll just call it the test phase. This due date determines all of the tasks within this phase, like when they're due. So these will all be 4 days before the event. And then any any tasks. So if I click add and add a task, any of these tasks will all be due 4 days before the event date. So that's just the way I did it. So unfortunately, your workflows may then end up having a whole junk load of phases, but yeah, it's just the way it's designed. Sorry about that. Does anyone else want to see anything or have any other questions about this? Does this kind of make sense to all of you? Oh, there's another question. Cool. So, can you set an auto email to go out right after the client books? So, sure, you can actually have an automatic email get sent. There's multiple ways to do it. Some people will go into their contracts module. So I'll just show you this. And you click on the settings tab, and here, as soon as your contract is signed, this little thank you email response, you can have it automatically send one of your email templates, and in there you can give them links to how to set up their client portal, a link to view their invoice. You can do all that kind of post booking stuff in there. I prefer to do it in there, but you can do it other ways. So say you're booking with a proposal and you have it set up to automatically apply a workflow template. So let me just load up this one. I'm going to add an automatic email. I'm going to send this one, and I'm going to say 0 days after the booking date. So literally, it will send this email. It'll probably just say the same date, and then Pixifi will see it and be like, oh, should have sent this, and it'll just send it automatically to them. So you just set yours to 0 days after booking, and then that will send it within 15 minutes, because I think the emailer script runs every 15 minutes. So it might not be literally that second, but within 15 minutes they'll get that email right away. Okay, so Jess asked, can we have more than one workflow visualizer? Actually, you can. So right now I'm in a workflow template, and there's this little visualizer tab. This tab will only show me this specific workflow. But on your dashboard, let me just go back to the dashboard. Scroll down. So here, I'm going to click this little settings icon, little gear. And in here, I can choose which workflows I want to see. So you just check off the little checkbox and show me, okay, see right now I have a project one, a lead one, and an event one. So let me scroll down and I'll show you. So this first block is my event, and this second block is my lead, and then this third one, even though it says wedding workflow, this is my project one because it's just a demo. But yep, you can totally view multiple workflow templates at once. And if you have lots and lots of phases, you can also scroll right and see all of them. Cool. Awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions or things that they want to see? And it could be about anything. It doesn't have to be about workflow. I guess one thing that I didn't really show, which is pretty cool, is this little full screen icon. You can click that just to get a wider, less squished view of the workflow visualizer. And you can also do that for this lead pipeline tool. You just click this little full screen button, and you'll get a little bit easier to navigate view. And not sure if anyone even clicks that, but I just figured I'd show it to you. Can you assign 2 workflows to an event or project? Unfortunately, you can't. Sorry about that. It's just one per event or one per project, or whatever it is. I've thought about, and I don't know if this is something that sounds good to you. I've thought about. Let me just show you. Within a workflow template, I'll just wait till it loads. Sorry. Um, oh, let me just hit cancel. Sorry. So within a phase, right now you can add actions like emails or questionnaires once every task gets completed. I thought about adding one more called switch to workflow template. And what that would do is after every task is checked off in a phase, it would then replace the current workflow with another one that you chose. So I don't know if that would actually help or not. I haven't actually added it because I wasn't sure if it would be useful to anyone, but if you think that would be useful, let me know. And I can add that. So that way, right at the end of this one, I can have it automatically switch to another one. Oh, okay. So there's another question that I missed. Um, so my clients have one link with their proofs and one link for their digital photo order, but they each have the same password. Can I send an automatic email once the task is marked as complete with their URL and password? Sure. You can send, so say you checked off all of these tasks and in your actions, you add one of these emails to be sent out. What I would do is I'm going to go to my events module real quick. And you'll see there's this custom fields tab. So what I would do for you is I would create a custom field called client's photo password or something like that. And in their event, you can save it. So let me just go to an event real quick. All right, I'm going to click edit and scroll down here. So here's my client's photo password. I'm just going to set the password as Timmy. Just real quick to show you. All right, now I'm going to go into my email templates just to show you what you can do. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. So click happy here. So what you can do is in your email templates, I'm going to go to my event reminder template. Since I added that custom field to my event. And you'll see here at the bottom, see that client's photo password, that custom field I added? I don't want to insert it there. It's right here. I'm going to update this email template. And then as a test, I'm going to just go to contact and send this email real quick. Oh, this is going through my inbox of all these emails. This could take a while. My inbox is so filled. I guess I should show you on a different client because this is just gonna sit here for a long time until it goes through my entire inbox. Let me see if I can answer another question while we wait. Would you ever have more options for when to send a task or an email? For example, after a contract is signed in Pixifi. It's hard to trigger off of that, Jess, because not everyone uses contracts. So I guess I could definitely try and just see if I could get it to work. All right, so back here with this event reminder template, did I even choose the right one? Or is this still getting caught up? Let me just see. Oh my gosh, look at this. Yeah, there's 1,700 pages of emails. All right, so this was a really bad example. I apologize, but basically, that custom field will get replaced with whatever value you set. So it would have just displayed to me. So then in your workflow template, you would just have it send that email. So hopefully that that answers that. That was a really bad example. I should probably just remove the email sync on mine because of all the different things. So another question was, how do you handle having a pre-sale workflow and then a post-sale workflow, but depending on what they purchase? So Tony, that's a really good question. So most of the workflows that I do are all like pre-sale. They're all about um, the photo shoot itself. What you could then do is create a couple of different workflows depending upon what they choose. And I don't really know exactly how you do things, so I wouldn't be able to advise you super specifically, but you could then, at any time, you can, like if there's a workflow already here, there's a little button that says change workflow. You could then go in and say, okay, well, they ordered such and such. Let me apply this workflow, and here's the phase I want to start in, and then hit save, and then it will go and replace all of the workflow tasks that you originally had on there, and then replace them with all the new ones based on the new template you choose. So I don't know exactly your situation, so I wouldn't be able to give you a specific one, but I hope that helps. Okay, so there's another question. They're a little confused about how a client goes from a lead to a client. Their clients don't do packages, they only do a la carte. So what would be the best way to book them? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So let me go to a lead. All right. Now I can book this lead manually by clicking on the actions button at the top and then going to convert lead into client, book them manually. And that will convert my lead into a client and then into an event based on all this event data that I've entered. And then from there, I could add an invoice for what they've ordered and then add a contract, and link the invoice that I just created to the contract, and then send them the contract, have them sign it, and have it prompt them to make a payment. Or the easier way is to create a proposal. And I went over this on last week's Coffee with Tim. So I'm not going to go into full detail what I did last week, but I'll show you real quick. What I would recommend doing is setting up a proposal template first. And then I'm going to hit save real quick. All right, and so in my proposal now that's linked to this lead, I have exactly what contract I want them to sign. It has all my variables in it. I have what workflow template I want to automatically be applied to the newly created event, who I want shooting it, or just whatever staff member I want involved, what my payment terms are. So this is important. Set up a payment term template to tell Pixifi how to split up the payments on the invoice, and then that will prompt the user to make a payment online. You can also set up event reminders and invoice reminders if you want as well. In here, I can offer, right now I have 4 different packages that I offer in this proposal, but for your example, I'm just going to remove all of my packages. Okay. Since you don't offer packages, I'm going to go to Edit at the top, and I'm going to disable packages because I don't even want that step to show. Let me just hit Update real quick, just so you get like a good idea of what it would look like. And then here are just my a la carte items or add-ons, whatever you want to call it, and then any coupon codes that I want to offer as well. So they're all there. So now what I could do is email the link to my lead, or if like they're right there in front of you in person. You can just hit publish and view, and it'll just pull up the link on your laptop or iPad or whatever you're on. And so um, originally there was a packages step in this little nav, but now it just goes right to add-ons. So from here, they could say, all right, well, I want to add an engagement session, sure. I really want one of these beautiful albums, so let me just configure it how I want it, and you can set all these up. And the video I did last week shows you how to create these different product options. They can just kind of go crazy here. Then they get to the continue process. They can kind of see everything. Then they get to the review step where they fill out all of their information, and you can choose which fields are required and which ones are visible. So we'll just hit save. And then once they get to this signed contract step, it lets them know, hey, you can't make any more changes. Are you sure you're ready? And if they're ready, you just click yes. Then what it does is it goes through, converts the lead to a client and an event, generates the invoice on everything they chose, and then creates the contract. So it does all of this for you. Now they're presented with this contract to sign. I'm just going to initial it real quick. Off the checkbox, type my name, and then I'll just draw my signature. And then hit sign contract. And then it knows how much to prompt me to pay based on those payment terms. So right after I sign, in just a few seconds, it'll pop up my merchant account, and now it's making me pay $1,000 retainer or deposit, whatever you want to call that. And so I have PayPal and Stripe and a couple others hooked up, and all I have to do is fill out my info and make the payment. So now let me refresh the proposal real quick just so you can see on the back end what happens. So originally, there was just this lead over here, and now you can see it created a new client, a new event, a new invoice, and a new contract. And you can click on all of these to see what it created. And so you can see here, this is everything they ordered. And here are the different payments that were created, along with payment reminders. And there's the invoice reminders that were auto-scheduled based on my proposal. And the workflow was already applied to the brand new event, and all those different things happened. And all you had to do was send them one link to the proposal. So it's really cool. It's much better than trying to manually convert the lead to a client and generate the invoice and generate the contract and then send it. So I hope you either watch the video from last week or just, hopefully this was enough for you to at least get started and check out the proposal system. It's really, really cool. Awesome. So let's see, are there any other questions I've missed? Oh, okay, so there was one question. There are different types of leads that I get. Should I be doing a separate workflow for each lead type? I would say absolutely. And here's one really cool thing that I didn't show yet. When you go to settings and brands, and then you go to edit your specific brand, there is this inquiry automation tab. Click on that, and as your leads come in from your Pixifi inquiry form, you can have it over here. See how it says auto apply an event type specific workflow template? You could say, all right, well, if it's a birthday one, apply this birthday workflow. And if it's a wedding or engagement one, apply this wedding workflow. And if it's maternity, apply this maternity workflow. So it can then create those or automatically apply those workflow templates based on the event type of your lead. Really, really cool. And definitely lets you then have an even more specific set of tasks and specific emails that automatically get sent out, because obviously you wouldn't want to send a wedding type email to a maternity type lead, so you can definitely create those different types of workflows for your leads and events and all that stuff. And also one thing that you can do, let me just go to templates and workflow templates. In each of these templates, there's a duplicate button, so that way you don't have to spend tons of time recreating each one for each different type. Just hit duplicate, change the name, and then kind of tweak it from there. Unless, of course, it's completely different, and then there's no point in duplicating it because you're just gonna delete and change everything. But if it's similar, then just hit that duplicate button and work off of the copy. Awesome. So, yes, Julie, all these videos are recorded and you can watch them later. You just go to pixify.com/coffeewithtim, and I'll be posting. Like I've already posted the link down there from last week, and I'll post the link from today there right after this is done. Let me just make sure I have everything. Oh, Angela, she's run into a problem. If you add a discount, the payment terms don't count that when it goes to the final step. Okay, I'll definitely take a look at that and see what's going on. Thanks for letting me know. That should definitely not be. Well, yeah, that definitely makes sense. It just sounds like it must not. It must be generating the payments too quickly before it applies the. Yeah, sorry. No, that makes perfect sense. What I'll do is I'll work with you offline off of this video and just have you and me run a couple different tests and figure that out. So thanks so much for letting me know. Does anyone else want to see anything else? Have any other questions? Has this been helpful to everyone who's been attending? Like, is this awesome? Are you? Is this good? Okay, awesome. Well, that's great. I'm so glad that. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Yay, awesome. Great. Cool. So if there are no other questions, I might just end this a little early and then. Oh, whoops! I missed a question. Oh well, actually, there's. Okay, so actually, there's 3 questions. All right, so I'm glad I asked. Timelines, yes, timelines. I'll show you how to use those. So let me just go to an event real quick. So here in my event, I have a locations tab and then this timelines tab. So I'm going to real quick add an event timeline. And I've already created a timeline template, which you can do either here in things to do in timelines and then the templates tab. So I'm just going to populate that real quick. All right, so here is my wedding day timeline. And here I have the different parts of the day separated by times. So I have getting ready from 8 to 9 and ceremony and all that stuff. And then the cool thing about the timeline is you can just drag and adjust for that specific event. So say my event actually starts earlier at 7, now I'm adjusting this and can kind of, tweak the event on the fly. I mean, you could also click on each timeline item and then change the times here. You can also say what locations they'll be at if you've added locations here in the locations tab. So then those are available here. And then what you can do is you can export the timeline as a PDF or email it to your clients or the coordinators or whoever's involved. And you can also view that PDF on the day of, so that way you don't have to, like you can save it to your phone or something like that. So that way you don't, even if you don't have internet the day of, you could just already have it with you. So that's timelines. I mean, I don't know what else to get into. I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Oh, you can also change the view in case you want to kind of expand on, see how now you can see every 5 minutes, or shrink it down so now it's by 30-minute intervals. So you can kind of choose the scale, so to speak, of the this little view, little drag drop view over here. Cool. Okay. Yep. No problem. So let's go to the next one. I missed a question above on corporate clients and getting event details on the invoice. So the question was, let me scroll up. Okay, I have corporate clients that would need some of the event info on the invoice, like the event date, the location, time. Can you incorporate this from the event to the invoice? Right now, no, but oh, you know what we could do? We could. All right, I have an idea that might work. So what we could do is, all right, yeah, I have an idea. All right, it's obviously not going to work in this example, but I'm gonna at least show you what my idea is. So under settings and application, so the application settings, when you scroll down to the invoice options, there's this default invoice notes section. My idea would be then you would just add those event variables in here, and then it would just, as soon as the invoice is created, replace these tokens or variables with the actual event data. Do you think that would work for you? I'm not sure if you're still connected, but hopefully that would work for you. Let me see, are there any other things I missed? Okay, so there's another question. For product details and packages, is there a place I can put photo numbers for each size photo? Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure I understand completely what you mean, but I don't see why you couldn't use like an event custom field and add a custom field called photo numbers. And within that event, you can list out all the Tim 8845, Tim 4456. I don't know if that's going to get what you need, because I'm not sure I understand that completely. But you can obviously let me know. If it's about a specific invoice, you could always, if it's not like specific to that event, but on an actual invoice, what you can do is add a line item, and instead of populating it from one of your product templates, instead of doing that, you could just write out, these are the photo numbers, set the price to 0, and then just real quick. Here's my photo numbers product. I'm going to add a detail, and then in each detail under it, I could say, there's that one. And so let me just update this real quick. Oh, I forgot a due date. And so now here on the invoice, you can see that main line item is called photo numbers, and then each of the photo numbers underneath, those are all the different file names. And then that would also be, viewable in the PDF as well. So you would be able to see those in the invoice as well. So hopefully that gets you what you need. Awesome. Right now, the pricing page does not reflect the tax amount when they inquire about pricing. Is this normal? That's just the way I originally designed it. It just gives them the general prices, and then once the invoice is actually created, then um, then the total lists out all of the tax and stuff like that. So, um, I mean, if you actually need that, I'm sure I could probably go add it in. And Eric, can you go over the solution for OSNAP in the app settings again for the event date? Oh, well, Eric, that doesn't actually exist yet, but sure, I can show you one more time. Go into settings, application, and then under invoice options, there's this default invoice notes. What I'm going to work on is just adding it so that you can put in different variables, and then it'll populate that once it gets added to the event. So Tony asked real quick. He said, "Hey, you give us free email templates as samples. Can you do the same thing with workflows?" Sure. If you want, everyone has go to settings and then sharing, and everyone has this little Pixifi ID. And what you can do in the Facebook group, we can all share each other's IDs, and I can share a whole bunch of workflow templates with you all if you want. So just we could start a whole thread in the Facebook group and just start. I can start sharing at least my workflows, and I'm sure a lot of other people have different workflow templates that they could share. So cool. Does anyone else want to see anything else? This has been great. I'm so glad that so many of you showed up today. I'm so glad you guys had a lot of questions. That's really good. I hope that I've been able to answer everything, well enough. So, yeah, awesome. All right, well, everyone have an amazing day, and thank you so much for attending. And yeah, get out there, start automating stuff, and make some more money. All right, have a great day, everybody.